Hi, good evening watchers, and welcome to my Totally Flawed film review tonight. And tonight I've been watching a little film called Candyman. Anyway, so I've been watching this stuff. I've seen it before. I've seen it about four or five times. I watched it years ago. Right? I remember seeing the trailer, and I went, it's one of those movies that it's fascinating, man. I saw the trailer, man. I saw the trailer, and I went, oh, I've got to watch that. And of course, then I watched it years later. I can't remember how long. Maybe 5 years later, 4 years later, or two. No, actually, I don't think it was that 4 years later. I think it was about, not far from years later, whatever. So, and I watched it and I really liked it. Then I watched it again. For some reason, I didn't like it as much. No idea why. Don't ask me why. I think because it was so kind of like serious and creepy and scary and dark and I don't know. So, but then I watched it again, and I liked it even better the first time on, and more times than the second time on. And I watched it again tonight, and what a mover! What a great mover! And don't ask me why I didn't like it the second time on. No idea. Maybe because it was like too dark and too. I don't know. It was just scary. I don't know. Maybe because it was too dark and fear. It had some like nasty moments in it. It was serious and stuff. And now you watch it again. It's just such a really good horror film. So anyway, let's read the back. Data stage name 5 times from the chilling imagination of horror master Clive Barker, who did the Nightbreed and Hellraiser films. Comes Candyman, one of the greatest horror films of the 90s. Now, when grad student Helen Leo, played by Lily, played by Virginia Madison, begins working on a thesis about about the urban legends. She come across the terrifying tale of the Candyman, a vengeful hook-handed spirit who can be summoned by saying his name 5 times in the mirror. As her research leads her into the house of Chicago's deprived housing projects and deeper into the Candyman's world, Helen learns that some legends are best left alone. Yeah, it's one of those movies that it's kind of like the Bloody Mary. If you say her name, was it 3 times? It's a bit like the Bloody Mary's urban legends. Like I said, I've seen this before, and it's a great film. I like the part at the beginning where you hear Candyman's voice, played by Tony Todd. Good actor. You can hear his voice, and where you'll see all his beads and stuff. And then it goes on to this part where you see Helen's character being told about the story about Candyman. When I was a kid, I thought to myself, I'm never going to do that in the mirror. Never. Even that scared me. Even then, even if it wasn't real. But who knows? I think I've actually tried it once before and nothing happened, so I'm still alive for sport. But yeah, Tony Todd's great. And anyway, she's telling this story about this woman who's got this like beaver. And of course, she's going out with this guy. This guy comes to her house, and they go upstairs in front of this mirror, and she starts telling about this guy called Candyman. And then she starts saying, then they start, oh yeah. Then he says Candyman almost 5 times, and he kind of chickens out. He kind of goes, nah, I don't think so. He kind of acts all hard and stuff, but just deep down he goes, you know what, sod that. I'm not even saying his name 5 times. No, thank you. And to be honest, I don't blame him. I don't care how tough you are. No. But then she tells him to go downstairs, of course, and what does she go and do? She goes and does the stupidest thing. Says his name 5 times. And then, of course, then it goes on to the story with Helen, where she's like investigating, doing research on this Candyman urban legend. And of course, the film has got some great. I like the part with the toilet where she goes into the toilet because there's a kid in there. She meets this kid and shows up where Candyman hangs out or something. It's this horrible toilet, where someone got murdered there. She goes in, right, this guy walks in, this guy with a hook, You mean so like this guy with his hook, like beat, you know, his friends like beat her up, beat her off because she starts taking these pictures in this dirty toilet with poo on the freaking walls and stuff. Who the hell wants to have who wants to go in a toilet with poo on the freaking walls? He must be nuts. These boulders, he's knocking down this freaking toilet, freaking. I like the part of the film when they start saying, you know, let's see Candyman 5 times, and that's what she does. They kind of go, you know, because our friend like they're in like the toilet and they decide to see Candyman 5 times. Of course, our friend chickens out, so she does it 5 times. And of course, I'm just like, but the funny thing is about it is Candyman doesn't turn up until later on. He's like, you don't see him until later on in the film, and it's kind of scary because you think when's he going to turn up. And the film actually made me jump. I've seen quite a few. I've seen the R-rated version. It's got 2 versions of this film: the R-rated and the UK version, and it's got some nasty moments in this film. I was sitting there going, I'm not sure if one certain part we actually see his kid on the floor holding his and he's got like blood and stuff, and it's like been, you know, it's been badly cut open. And you think stuff. Was that in the UK version? I can't remember. I might need to watch that one. But it's pretty violent film. It's pretty kind of nasty and scary. It didn't certain parts did make me jump, and I'm like, I've seen this film quite a few times. And it still makes me jump. You know, it's Jesus Christ, because you think when's it going to turn up? Of course, you know when it's going to turn up at the car park garage where the cars parts and stuff like that. Where she goes, and when it does turn, you can hear his voice is so damn like it sounds as if he's close by, but then he's right far back, Candyman, and then he kind of hypnotizes her. And then after that, when he hypnotizes her, right, you think she turns up at this apartment who was telling her about Candyman and stuff, about murders and stuff, and she has this dog and this kid, and then the dog's head's been chopped off and the kid's just vanished. Yeah, and I was thinking about something in this film that got me thinking about the new film. I'm not sure I'm from right, but it could be possible that the kid in it is connected to the new film, the little baby. I think he's going to be in the new one. A certain character. I don't know, I'm thinking about it. I mean, it could be like another character from the film who's in the new one, which I'm looking forward to, by the way. It looks good. I was sitting there, I hope that's going to be really terrifying, violent, and like the original movie. Hopefully it's going to be good, because I really genuinely like this film. It's so creepy and scary, and I'm Tony Todd is so, oh man. Yeah, he's like, to me, he's up there with Freddy Krueger and freaking Michael Myers. Okay, and Jason Voorhees too. But I think it's more scary than Jason Voorhees. It's definitely the best Candyman movie. I actually like the second one too. I think that's underrated. The second one, that's pretty well done. Candyman kind of sets up a few times in this film and starts turning people against her. That's what he does. Because he's got an interesting backstory that's more explained in the second one. It's better explained in the second one than the third one, because they kind of like do some of the third one that kind of baffles me. But yeah, I like the way in the second one they explain, you know, how he became who he was, the Hawkman. Tony Todd's great in this. He's fantastic. Yeah, the second one was actually really good in that one too. So yeah, and we do like the second one too. I think that's underrated. So anyway, it's quite a nasty movie. Then she gets arrested for killing they think that she stole the baby. Of course, she gets released, and then later on in the film, her friend turns up. I like the part where the mirror scene where he puts his hand through that freaking thing. And then this part is probably I think this is one of the most nastiest scenes where he murders a friend. I can't understand why he murdered her. I'm guessing she could have said Candyman the 5th time later on in the film. I don't know. I'm not sure if it works that way. But you can say it a few times and say it later on. Then it comes after. But I don't think she did. I think he just murdered her for the sake of it. She was in the way or something. I don't know. So anyway, that scene was nasty. And of course, she gets put in this. Anyway, he murders her friend, right? Of course, she gets put in this like hospital, this mental hospital, of course. And that scene was really. I've got a lot of favourite scenes, and that scene in the hospital was pretty excellent too. Where she's like strapped to this like bed, and she can't move, so she can't defend herself, of course. And Candyman's hovering above her, and he goes under the bed and stuff like that. And then she meets the doctor. Then this scene was kind of like, she's like, I can prove that I never killed these people by saying his name 5 times in the mirror. And she says it 5 times, and oh man, he just comes out of nowhere and slaughters the freaking doctor. It's pretty nasty actually, because he just shows how violent he is, you know, evil and stuff like that. I was thinking, yeah, it got me thinking about Candyman. Maybe makes you wonder. I mean, I suppose it's rage and stuff that's created this kind of like his personality. Because I don't think because at the time I don't think he wasn't a bad person. He wasn't. He wasn't. You know, he was like he was having a relationship with this like white woman, of course, and they murdered him because of that. Now I was thinking maybe he got possessed by some kind of devil or something, demon, but I think there's more to it than that. It's just like pure hate. That's what it is. But yeah, he's an interesting character. I think for the third one, the new one, well, I got the third one because the third one wasn't very good. It's called the Candyman anyway. It should call it their Candyman. That would have been bad. Too. But yeah, it's gonna be confused when they call it. Oh, it's Candyman. I've got that film. No, it's the new Candyman film. It's confusing. Because they have this habit of calling it like Halloween. Halloween, you know, I'm not calling it Halloween 2.0 one. It's yeah, it's confusing, but you know. But yeah, the film is really well done and it's very brutal too. Well, Tony Todd is probably the most, you know, such a great performance in this film. It's like perfect casting that was. It really was. You know, the part of the doctor scene was excellent, really well done. Turns out she's got a husband, of course. When she turns up at the apartment, he's with this girl. Like he's like some kind of like he's like a teacher and he's at this like university thing and he's like you see he's quite a really attractive girl in her, of course, and it turns out he's having a relationship with her. And when it turns out at her apartment, she's like painting and stuff, and it's like Jesus Christ, it didn't take him long to get a relationship with someone. And of course, the ending part was really well done, where she's at this like bonfire site, and of course she rescues the baby, of course, but she doesn't survive, and this part kind of baffled me at the funeral where the kid in it drops like the hook on our freaking casket. Right, it's good. And I think, why would he do that? I wonder. That scene kind of baffles me. I mean, it's a good scene, but at the same time, you think, oh, it kind of does to it later on in the film, like right at the end where she pops up right at the end. It's like, it's a scary film though. It's a scary film, but really well done. I loved it. It's really the B scenes where where he does that and he has bees and stuff in his mouth and stuff. It's so damn creepy. But the film was really well acted. What I didn't like about it, nothing really. There's nothing really I disliked about the film. Okay, what I liked about it, the music's great. The intro is great, and the music, and then the Candyman thing. It's just simplistic, so simple. And Tony Todd, fantastic in this film. The music's great. Some really good death scenes in this film that I really liked. And the woman who plays Helen, she's great in it. And it's got some genuine creepy moments in this film. You don't want to think in what it's one of those movies that you're sitting in just imagine sitting in like a building, like a big building, dark, watch this film. You'll be sitting there going, you'll be looking around you all the time and think, you'll be doing that all the time. It's so scary. It's like creeper, being on your own in a creepy building, watching this. Okay. So yeah, creepy attack. So yeah, so the rate I want to give this film is a 5 out of 5. I really liked it. It's a great horror film. And even the second one, if you watch the second one, I actually enjoyed the second one. I thought it's an underrated little movie. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for Candyman. Yeah, I just said 5 out of 5. Isn't that ironic, isn't it? Don't say his name 5 times, and it gets a 5 stars. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for Candyman, and say his name 5 times. But I won't dare you. I won't dare you say. Well, actually, okay, I dare you say his name 5 times. Look in the mirror and turn the light out. Do it. I dare you. So yeah, Candyman gets a 5 out of 5 for me. And right, my next review is Candyman. Farewell to the Flesh. I see behind me, of course, been watching that tonight. Really, I'll say a solid sequel to. So anyway, the sequel to Clive Barker's original 1993 shocker. This 1995 follow-up brings the ever-threatening Tony Todd and his hook-handed boogeyman back to the big screen, but this time in New Orleans. As before, our antagonist antagonist is a mix of nightmarish skin slicer and seductive voice stalker. But one thing is for sure, not many characters will be leaving the Tanqueray Splash sequel with their inside still intact. And also starring featuring Kelly Rowan, Assassins, and directed by the Oscar-winning Bill Condon, Chicago. I directed Chicago. Never seen that film. Fillmore to the Flesh is one of the highest achievements in 90s horror sequel Dumb. Yeah, Bill Condon. He does a really good job with this one. It's not as good as the first one, but I do like it. And you meet like a new character, a really quite attractive woman in it. She's like a teacher. She teaches his kids, and she doesn't know really much about the Candyman stuff. But then she starts. What happens in this film? I like the beginning of the film where the guy from the original movie, the doctor, and he's a bit of a skeptic, and he's got his book out, right? And of course, he's talking to these people, showing these slides on this film about Candyman, of course, and you see one character, the woman here, his brother, he's like watching them what they do. Of course, the doctor does it stupid, by someone actually dares into. No, what happens is that he looks into his book. Right, it kind of looks like glass, like a mirror. His book, and of course, it says it 5 times. Stupid, and of course. I remember when I first watched it, I actually thought Candyman, when this guy jumps up behind him with his hook, I actually thought that was him. And it's a bit of a trick, of course. And then the guy in it, I think his brother, the woman's brother, he blames him for his dad's death, their dad's death. And of course, because his dad was murdered by Candyman. And of course, like I said before, this character's doctor is completely skeptic about it. He's like, rubbish, load of rubbish, of course. And this scene was quite creepy. And even that, it still kind of gives me, it's kind of a creepy scene where he goes into this like, ends up in this toilet, and of course, and that scene was quite scary because you can actually see the lights are flickering and stuff. You think yourself, oh, he's gonna die in this. Yeah, that scene was good when he gets murdered, of course, by Candyman. And the film's got some good death scenes in it, but not as good as the first one. I think the first one's got more. I don't know if the death scenes more freaking. I don't know, ferocious and stuff, but this one's got some good death scenes too. So when this character gets murdered, of course, then goes on to this really attractive woman in it who's, she's the main character in this film. Of course, she knows nothing about Candyman until later on. And of course, her brother gets blamed for the guy's murder. So he's in prison, of course. He's like saying he did the killings and stuff, of course. So yeah, it's got some great scenes in it. I would say this film's underrated. Tony Todd returns as Candyman. He's freaking great in this, of course. He's fantastic. He's still quite menacing. So anyway, she starts doing a bit of snooping, investigating herself about what's going off, and then she finds out about the Candyman situation. So, because these these kids are fighting about, they're like, they're on about Candyman, and of course she's thinking, this is a load of rubbish. Candyman. So she says it 5 times in the mirror, and of course, you know what happens. He comes knocking on her door, not literally knocking on her door, of course, but he follows her, because when you know he's coming, you see his bees and stuff like that. Candyman kills her husband, of course, and of course she's telling the cops about and of course they don't believe her. They think she's a bit crazy. Until later on, when one of the detectives starts saying Candyman in the mirror while her brother's there, and then he gets slaughtered, of course, and his her freaking brother gets blamed for it. And then you find out about this mirror that could kill Candyman, which is interesting. I like that concept. I like the flashbacks in the film, but the only thing I had a problem with is the fact he's supposed to have been burnt after when he was killed, but in this they don't show none of it. There's just shown being like his hand getting cut off, and then the honeypot and the bees gone on. Yeah, I do like some of the death scenes in the film. I do like some of. It's got some definitely creepy moments in it. The guy does a decent job. Not as good as the first one, like I said, but it's got some good death scenes and creepy moments. Even dream sequences in this film. Of course, she goes to her old house. Her dad died in this house that they live in, this big house. And of course, her family's got a past with the Candyman. It's got a name. I can't remember what his name was. I like the fact that in this film actually shows what his real name was before he became Candyman. I did like, because in the original one they called him Candyman. It did have a name. I mean, you can't call a guy Candyman without having a real name. The woman in it who plays the main character, she's really good in this. I like her acting. She's easy on the eye. She's very attractive. She's a good actress too. I think she does a small job playing, the main hero in it, the main heroine in it. I think she does a really excellent job. She's not just a pretty face; she's a good actress too. She's a good character in this, I'll say. So yeah, really enjoyed this movie. I know the last bit is fucking great. The scene I do like, the scene in the police station, that's a good scene when the detective gets killed. There's a lot of good scenes in this film, of course. I like the fact on the CCTV camera that actually you see it, and that the woman in it, she's watching the CCTV. She's on the tape. She's like watching the video, and the guy's just like levitating and they're getting slaughtered. And she's like, what the hell? So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Hopefully the next one they do like a thing where they're gonna stop people from saying his name. So that's what they should. A bit like Freddy vs. Jason, where they're trying to make people forget about Freddy Krueger, not dream about him anymore. I thought that was a pretty good story. I'd say it's not perfect, but I really did like that. So yeah, and the last part was really good where she ends up finding the mirror to destroy him. I like the flashback scenes, even if they didn't show a certain part in the film where I thought, did he get burnt in the film? Burnt him afterwards. Apart from that, I still thought it was really cool when you see his flashback before he became evil. And in a way, it's kind of like people disrespected by saying his name. It's kind of a revenge thing. And it even said that their hatred kind of reflects on him. So they're evil. What they did evil to him, he does evil to everyone else. He becomes that evil. And I like that idea. I thought it was really interesting. I thought that it's like their evil reflects onto him, and it becomes that evil, which is interesting. I did like that. But yeah, good film. So what I didn't like about, I didn't like the fact. This is the things I didn't like about it. I suppose they didn't show. Okay, right. I think the only problem I have with the film. They didn't show like the part where he got burnt. Because in the first one they mentioned him getting burnt after when he got, but none of that. But that's the only issue of this film. But apart from that, maybe the film had too much certain jump scares that kind of like didn't really make me jump too much. Some parts did actually make me, this is uncomfortable, but I'm not as scared as the first one, I don't think, but I still liked it. The characters are good, the woman. So okay, what I liked about it, I like the really attractive woman in it. She's great. Good character in it. She does a really good job. Tony Todd, fantastic. Good music in it again from the first film. It has the same music. And I still like the backstory where he shows him becoming Candyman and stuff. That was interesting. And the last part was pretty good, especially the last part with her daughter where she almost says Candyman right then. And it's like, I wonder what would happen if she said Candyman. Oof. Scary thought. I was actually watching this one. I was going downstairs and I felt a bit uncomfortable going downstairs. I felt a bit, like chiller. I don't know. I'm sitting watching. Not a good idea to be watching this on your own. And that is. And I hate it. But I like the film though. It's great. And Tony Todd's fantastic. So the best thing in this film is the woman in it and Tony Todd, and the music is great. And I thought the storyline was pretty decent. So yeah. So the video I'm going to give this film is a 4 out of 5. I really liked it. Not as good as the first one, but I did genuinely liked it. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. I'm going to review the third one in the series. Now, this one's the 1999 film. I enjoyed it. I still, it's not the best one, but you watch it again, you know, it's not that bad. It's got some decent, you know, kills in the film. I have a few issues with the film, but as a film itself, it's not that bad. It's not a bad movie, actually. I was sitting there going, you know, that wasn't that bad, actually. I still enjoyed it. I was going to give it kind of like a lower rating to the other films, but you know what? I'll get to that in a bit. Okay, right. Off the bat, this film is a 1999 film. It's the last Candyman movie for a few years, you know. Of course, now for quite a matter of years until of course they're making the new one's coming out soon. It's supposed to come out next year, I think, or whatever year. Which is a shame. I wanted it to come out there. I wanted to watch it last year, but it's like Jesus Christ. I saw the trailer. I like the trailer. I like the music. The problem with this one though, right, it hasn't got the Candyman music. It's got this like random music. Some of it actually isn't that bad actually, but some of it kind of feels like Candyman. But Tony Todd returns as Candyman. You can't have anyone apart from Tony Todd as Candyman. He's brilliant, and he's great in this film. He's really good in this film. He's always watchable. He's still, you know, he's still the Candyman. And of course, this time it actually should a bit more of his story in this one. And of course, that's the problem with this film. I was sitting there going, why the hell are they redoing the scenes from the past in certain parts? And they didn't need to do that, the death scenes and stuff, like how he got killed, because some of it's different to in the sequel. Because in the second one, they show parts of his past, and it was different to this one. That's the issues with either of this film, but still, it is what it is, and you know, it's just one of those movies. So, anyways, you meet a new character. I can't remember what her name was actually. Quite attractive blonde girl, and of course, I'm not gonna go through every name of each character because it's not really. It's just a quick review, of course, because I reviewed the film last year. And what I'm gonna do is put the scenes together from last year and this year, and just so it's all one big review. But I'm gonna still want to keep the other review on there. So the old one I did last year, and keep that up there. And so anyway, I was waiting for this to come on Blu-ray a while ago, and I thought to myself, I was gonna review that, but I thought to myself, I might as well wait until if it comes on Blu-ray, then I'll do a review of it, and then I'll watch it. And that's what I did tonight. I was looking forward to watching this actually, because I love the Candyman movies. They're so good. Tony Todd, fantastic, such a great actor. Brilliant actor. So anyway, off the bat, you're okay. Right at the beginning of the film, you see this attractive woman, and she's having this like weird, it's like a dream sequence, a bit like Elm Street kind of situation, where she wakes up, she goes into the bathroom. It's like a really, really bright bathroom, white, really nice and bright and white. So, but then she has a weird dream of Candyman. The film is quite gory anyway. So anyway, later on in the film, she meets these people. It's like this guy she knows this guy, right? It's like this guy who owns these pictures, one of his paintings, and there's a painter of it's like outside there's like a shop, and there's like a you see like a Candyman poster on the window, and then anyway she goes, and I think it's the same place. She goes in and she meets this guy, and of course all these other people are there too, and of course, and all about she's saying like, you know, I don't want to be, you know, associated with you because, you know, I want to say anything nasty, you know, of his character. You know, I want to see more of his, you know, what he was like in the past. Of course, you see this quite big painting of I think his character, Tony Todd's character, like in the past, and you see more of his backstory of his really gorgeous blonde in the past. They're really attractive, and I did like that. So I did like certain parts in this film, and she gets nudity in this film and stuff like that. What can you do? But anyway, she does something stupid by saying his name. He exits her on to say his name 5 times, and of course, actually before that, you meet this like it's a friend, and she almost says at the beginning of the film, before I come to that part, she has like a friend, and she almost says his name 5 times. That's what kind of bugs me about this film. I was watching for certain characters get killed for no apparent reason because they don't say his name 5 times, and in this they don't need to say his name 5 times. The film is kind of like misses the point of Candyman. You know, it's supposed to say name 5 times, meant to kill you, but in this anyone could get like killed in certain parts. It's weird. So anyway, back to the part where they're in the paint with the painting and stuff. He eggs her on to say his name 5 times. She says it 5 times, of course. Then this guy smashes this window and the mirror. And it's the guy from Nightmare on Elm Street who gets like strangled, who said he committed suicide in the film, which he didn't. It was Freddy Krueger. He's in this film, of course, and it turns out to be an actor. Anyway, they get to know each other a bit more, those two characters, and they get together. Later on in the film, of course, you meet this like detective, this copper. It's like there's a guy from these two detectives, rather, and they're like they're not very nice. So the guy who plays one of the characters is actor from the Prison Break, who plays Balak, is it Balak? And he's in this. He plays like his typical character, not very nice. And of course, he gets worse later on in the film, especially the last bit. I like the way they did the, try not to remember, trying to freaking forget Candyman, which I thought last part was really interesting. What they did, I like that. I did like that, where he got the, it's a bit, he gets kind of the blame for it. I like the way she did that. A few spoilers, but it's an old film, I know. So anyway, I thought the film was actually pretty good. Some of it I had a few issues with the film, like I said, the backstory, redoing it again. The music isn't there, the Candyman music, but some of it sounds kind of like Candyman-ish, but it's just not there. It's just not there in the film. It could be because of the not the same people who did the original movies, probably. So anyway, copyright. So I don't know. Anyway, the character who has the paintings, he gets killed later on in the film. But you think to yourself, well, he never said Candyman 5 times, so the film kind of makes no sense. And this girl gets killed. I thought, why? She never said his name. They might have done it off camera, but you don't see it. It's really strange the way the film goes. I don't remember them saying it in the film. They didn't say it in the film at all. They must have said it like behind the. I don't know. Without seeing it, I don't know. So anyway, certain characters do get killed and sliced and diced in this film. You do meet these like group of people who lure Finger's character into this like building, because they've got like the photo of Finger's character, and of course they tie her up in this chair. She has this finger in her mouth, whatever, and then one of the characters says his name 5 times and he kills everyone there. It's a really interesting movie. I did actually enjoy it. It had moments that kind of annoyed me, but because some of the acting wasn't the best, some of it was good. The rest of the characters were good. It's just the character that was the weakest was the main character in it, and the young blonde girl. She's very attractive there, but some of her acting was a bit, screaming was a bit, it was a bit. Some of it was bad, but it was bearable. Some of it wasn't too bad acting, but she wasn't the strongest actress in this movie compared to the last two, which were better actresses, but still watchable though. She's very watchable. She's not the worst actress I've ever seen, but heck. So anyway, this part where the guy in it, he gets taken by Candyman. He doesn't kill him, he just chains him up or something, whatever. Of course, he takes the picture, and that's the weakness of this film. That's Candyman's weakness is the picture. I'm thinking, hang on a minute. In the second film, it is the mirror. Now it's the picture. Kind of makes no sense, but picture is his weakness, which is kind of weird. But the film's actually, I did quite like the last bit where she's slicing the picture, then it gets set on fire, then he kind of like goes into the balls of flames and just freaking explodes. So it had some good, decent effects. So even had a scene like the original film where the bees are coming out his mouth, and then he does that, and you can see his chest and all that and stuff. And that part was quite cool. I like some of the effects are pretty decent in this movie. Not perfect, not as good as the first film, but yeah. But I liked it though. Okay. I'll get to the part what I didn't like about it. Okay, right. The music had no Candyman music in it. The last part was kind of like I didn't really mind, but some of the music was alright. Actually, not too bad. The last part was pretty good anyway. So the music, some of the acting, the actress wasn't the best. She wasn't the best of the film. The backstory being told redone again with different, it looks different to the second one, which was a bit daft. Apart from that, I really enjoyed it. So, okay, what I liked about it, I liked some of the music in it. I liked some of the characters, and some of them was pretty good actually. It's got a decent cast in this actually. Um, what else did I like? I like the last part of the film where she kind of like set. You know, he says that the cop in it who actually goes a bit nuts. He goes a bit nuts for it. Gets shot, and then what she does is something really clever by actually saying he's the Candyman, so that people don't go. So people kind of like, you know, they kind of go, you know what? Okay, we got a nut on the loose, so they think, well, there's no guy out there who can. You say his name 5 times and comes and kills people. It stops all that. But does it though? That's the thing. Does it? So yeah, because there's like a new one coming out soon called Candyman 2021 or so. It's supposed to be 2021. It was 2022. So yeah. So that's the only thing I disliked and liked about it. Some of the films are good, like I said. So it's got some good death scenes too. So yeah. So the way I'm going to give it the film, I was going to give it 3.5 out of 5. But then I thought, I liked it a bit better than that. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5 for its flaws. I enjoyed it. It's not the worst film I ever made. It's not the worst sequel, and I like the name too, Candyman Day of the Dead. It's pretty good. So yeah, Day of the Dead, Candyman 3 gets a 4 out of 5, which I was a bit surprised. I thought it was going to be terrible, but it's not too terrible, but it's very watchable. So 4 out of 5 for Candyman 3. Right, I'm going to review Candyman 2021, and now what I'm going to do is put all the scenes together, so I've got the other views, so I can, instead of just like doing, you know, separate, I might as well put all my clips together. That's what I do sometimes. It's kind of a cool idea, because then you can see my old review to that. So I've been watching Candyman 2021 tonight. Really enjoyed it, by the way. Okay, right, so the plot is, for decades, the house and projects of Chicago's Cabrini Green were terrorized by a ghost story about a supernatural hook-handed killer. In present day, an artist begins to explore the macabre history of Candyman, not knowing it would revive its sanity and release a terrifying wave of violence that puts him on a collision course with destiny. Now, it's a good film. I really enjoyed it, by the way. Just over 7 minutes, so directed Neo DaCosta, and of course Tony Todd pops up, and then the original woman, what's her name, Vanessa Williams pops up in the sequel. She was in the original one, and that film is actually connected to this film. I was thinking to myself, what if it's connected to his character? It's connected to the first one, and it turns out it is. I was like, I like this film even better now. I had a funny thing, it was actually, this film is actually connected to the first one with the baby. Few spoilers, of course, in the film, but so yeah, it's connected to the first film, and I was sitting there going, I like this film even more. That's a pretty good film, I'd say. So anyway, the film takes place years and years after the original movie, of course, and yeah, about this new Candyman, this new guy who gets killed by coppers, of course. I still enjoyed the film, even if, you know, there's certain parts that kind of went, okay, so anyway, you meet this new character who's an artist, of course, and of course he starts to getting this kind of like thing about Candyman, and of course then things start to happen to his character later on, like a possession kind of thing. Death scenes are pretty good in this film, and pretty violent movie too. So anyway, you meet this new guy. This story about this guy who gives candy to kids. And of course, there was finding like razor blades, bit like the original movie. There's like razor blades in the where Finger's character Helen finds razor blades in this. Like it's kind of like that actually. I was thinking, it's kind of like and it turns out the guy in it, the guy in the Hawk, he gets killed by coppers, pretty bad lad. It comes back as the Candyman. It's quite scary actually. I admit, I was sitting there going, damn, he's kind of scary looking. Where he smiles and stuff, and of course his spirit returns and he starts killing people and stuff like that. And it's a really good film. I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it a lot, but I was looking forward to watching this film. I wasn't disappointed. I really liked it. I thought the death scenes were good. I thought the scene with the girls in it who actually say his name 5 times, that scene was pretty good. The film was pretty creepy too, wasn't it? Jesus, especially the effects they use with the mirrors and stuff. Where you see Candyman, and then in the mirror you see him, and then you don't see him. It's like, I really enjoyed this film. Really, definitely a film that I'll definitely have in my horror film collection. Really enjoyed it. It's got the creepy, and at the beginning of the film we actually see the animation thing what they use where they tell a story, and I did like that. I thought that was so good the way they did that. So you see it tell a story about a character like a character who gets killed by telling in an animated way. I thought that was really good. Really kind of imagination. They're running wild straight away there. I love the music too. They have the Candyman music in it with it. It goes, oh, it's just great. It sounds great, the music does in this film. And then you hear all the stories about other Candyman characters, supernatural forces that kill in these pictures. Now there's a guy in it who tells the story about the guy who's on about who got killed by coppers, and he starts telling the story about his character who got killed by coppers, and then there's a bit of a twist out then about his character. It's like he goes a bit nuts later on in the film. It's like, Jesus Christ. So he's not, it's just nuts. The film's nuts, and it's pretty good actually. There is one death scene that kind of bugged me a little bit because it kind of like it looked a bit cheap the way they did it. Not cheap, but just like this Fingers character Anthony visits this woman, and she says, you don't hear her say Candyman, but then she gets killed off like. You don't see her say Candyman, but she looks in the mirror, you know she's going to say it. Then the camera like, then he leaves, and then you see her getting killed from distance, and I kind of went, oh, that's a bit cheap. I don't know, it just looked a bit cheap. I just thought, wow, that was, they should have did it right there in the room with. It just didn't look scary. That was the problem. There's a few issues with this film, but that was the only scene that kind of like, that was a bit cheap though, because apart from that, the rest of the film I really enjoyed. I just thought they could have done better with that scene instead of just going the camera going further back and then she gets thrown around and stuff, gets killed. I just think that was a bit okay. I don't think that was a smart idea. I thought that was a bit weak. If I had a death scene, I want a death scene that's gory and nasty and disturbing and freaking not in real, of course, but in a film. So anyway, this character's kind of like, and there's another scene that I thought was really good. I thought the scene was good with. This guy's having sex with. It's like this art place, right? This guy's gonna have sex with his girlfriend. So this girl with green hair and stuff, whatever. And of course, she says Candyman 5 times in the mirror, and of course, she gets killed. And he's kind of, what in the hell's going off? And you see him like this, standing there, and he's like, it's quite good. The film is quite gory and nasty at the same time. I enjoyed it. And of course, certain characters do make an appearance back in. There's the original woman. You can actually hear her on tape talking about him and so talking about the finger on this tape, and it's definitely her voice. The original actress who did her voice, finger Vanessa Williams is on. The woman, the baby. She's and of course, it's connected to Anthony's. I was like, I had a funny thing about his character. I don't know. And on about the fire and stuff like that. Right, Helen, you can hear, what's her name? Virginia Madsen. You can actually hear her voice on the finger talking, and then I thought, that's great. I thought her spirit was going to pop up in the film, because that's what I heard, that her spirit was going to come in the film, but you don't see it. That's a bit of a shame, actually. I thought that was cool in the first film where you saw her spirit. Anyway, so she's in this film, but she's not actually in the film, like, I thought that scene was really well done. This film has some creepy ass moments. I was sitting there, Jesus Christ, this film's creeper. Especially the dream seekers where his girlfriend or his wife was she's having these creepy ass dreams, and he's like there in the, you can see the Candyman there, and there's like, it's creepy. The film is creeper. Yeah. And after this scene was pretty good. I thought it was really well done. This part where he's looking in the mirror and you can see the other character as Candyman. I was like, the hook and his face is all bloody and stuff. It's just nasty. So, of course, the last part, I'll cut this review short. The last part was really good, especially the part where she gets taken by the guy who saw Candyman when he was in the 70s, and of course, and then his finger starts. I don't know, it's weird. The last part was pretty good actually. Where it's a creepy ass scene, it really was, because she gets tied up, taken by this guy who's on about seeing that guy who got killed by the copper, and of course she escapes, and then so what happens where she gets arrested, and then the last part was really good. I really did, especially when you see a certain character from the first film. I was like, Jesus Christ! I won't spoil too much, but 5 people watching this video, but I was sitting there going, "Jesus, this film's fucking scary, creeper." And bloody too, especially when the coppers get slowed down. I was just, Jesus Christ. And when you see like different Candyman and stuff, I just thought, and the reflection, I thought that was so good. That scene was with the bees and stuff. I thought that was really good. The last part was good. I did like it actually. And of course, hoping they do make a sequel to this. Kind of opens for a sequel. This effects are pretty good too. I'd say the effects are good. Seeing a certain character, younger in it. I thought that was pretty good. So yeah. So yeah, what I didn't like about it is certain death scenes were a little bit weak. Well, that was a bit okay. That was from distance. To see it just levitating and getting killed from distance, and like okay, that was a bit. I was a bit. Whatever. Okay, I did like the music. I like this. I thought the storyline was pretty good too. Good, good performances in this film. And the music was great. The effects were good. The death scenes were good. The ones what I'd really like. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. So the rate I'm going to give this film a 4 out of 5. Candyman 2021 Candyman gets a 4 out of 5. So I know people, that's my review of this Candyman movie, the new one. So yeah, awesome. Reward to the flesh. I'm going to go off now, people. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day, have a nice week. Take care. And don't say his name 5 times, because that's just asking for trouble. And I'm going to go off now and see you later. And look after yourself one more time. See you later. Bye.